Imagine you're visiting a Spanish-speaking country. You're looking around at a few different restaurants and trying to choose which one is the best to eat at. You ask a local, "How is the restaurant?" Confused, they look around at the several options surrounding the both of you. They have no clue which restaurant you are referring to. You realize that you need a way to say this restaurant to indicate which spot you're asking about. Now, imagine you've made it inside the restaurant and tell the waiter you would like a salad. They ask you which one, and you see that there are indeed multiple salad choices on the menu. You point at the one you want, but you wish you had a way to verbally tell the waiter that you would like that salad. In these two examples, you needed to clarify which object or place you were talking about to differentiate it from the other similar options. In English, we do this using the words this and that. Although we might not think about these words a lot, they are the backbone of so many important conversations. In Spanish, these types of words are called adjetivos demonstrativos. They are what we will be learning in this lesson. Demonstrative adjectives, or adjetivos demonstrativos, denote the distance between the speaker and an object, place, or another person to whom the adjective of the sentence refers to. They can also refer to time, especially the present, the past, and the near future. Now, before we get any further, there is one important thing that you should know. In English, we have just two scales of distance of these types of words. When you use the word this, you're likely talking about something close by, while using the word that implies that the object, person, or place in question is further away. In Spanish, demonstrative adjectives actually denote three distinct distances instead of just two. In this lesson, you will learn how to differentiate these three levels of distance in Spanish, as well as the ideal context for using each one. There's close distance, or aquí or acá, with demonstrative adjectives este or esta. There's middle distance, or ahí or allí, with demonstrative adjectives ese or esa. And there's far distance, or allá, with demonstrative adjectives aquel or aquella. For now, let's start off with close distance. Este and esta are the demonstrative adjectives that indicate a close distance. They're like saying the word this in English. You can think of aquí and acá as meaning here or in this place in English. To describe something in the masculine form, still denoting this close distance, you would use the word este. In the feminine form, you would simply say esta. Keep in mind that both the masculine and feminine forms here are singular. Those words point out the closest proximity between the speaker and the object out of the three groups we'll be learning in this lesson. But just how close are we talking here? Well, a good rule of thumb is that if you are so close that you can touch the object that you're talking about, you should use este and esta. For instance, you might find yourself telling a friend, "Este año planeo terminar mi curso de español." I plan to finish my Spanish course this year. The thing you are clarifying in this case is the year that you plan to finish. If you just said año, your friend wouldn't know which year you plan to complete the course. By saying este año, you made it clear that you were talking about this year. Este makes sense here because this year is a close distance away from the current time. So far, we've seen the singular forms of these words. Este and esta translates to this in English. Can you guess what their plural form translates to? If you guessed these, you'd be correct. Estos and estas are the masculine and feminine plural forms for these demonstrative adjectives denoting close distance. For tons of helpful example sentences that put these words into action, be sure to check out our full guide to demonstrative adjectives, which is linked in the description below. Next, let's take a look at the next distance type we can denote with Spanish demonstrative adjectives. Remember, if you want to learn how to speak Spanish, make sure to check out BaseLang.com, where you can get access to unlimited one-on-one Spanish classes with native-speaking teachers, all via Zoom. To denote that something is a middle distance away, you would use the words ese or esa. Remember how our last words were like saying here in English? Well, when you say ahí or allí, it's like if you said there in English. The masculine singular form here becomes ese, while the feminine form would be esa. The middle set of Spanish demonstrative adjectives can refer to something nearby that the speaker can see but which is not easily within reach. In terms of time, these words can be used to talk about a specific moment in the recent past, but not one that happened too long ago. This will make a bit more sense when we see it in a sentence. Say you and your friend are on a tropical vacation and you spot a beautiful beach that you've been wanting to pay a visit. You might tell your friends, "Esa playa es de la que te hablé." That beach is the one I told you about. The word esa is used here because the beach is a medium distance away from you. And of course, esa is in the feminine form to match the noun la playa or beach. Now you're familiar with ese and esa. They're both ways of saying that in Spanish. If you use the plural forms esos for masculine nouns and esas for feminine nouns, it would be like saying those in English. And like I said, in Español, we have 3 demonstrative adjectives. The third type, which we'll learn right now, is also equivalent to saying that in English. However, this third type of demonstrative adjective denotes something that is a far distance away. We'll explain everything you need to know about this third type next. But first, have you subscribed to the BaseLang YouTube channel yet? If you're enjoying this lesson and you want to make sure you don't miss out on more just like it, be sure to hit that subscribe button. The word aquel or aquella is used to indicate something that is a far distance away. Our first set of words meant here and the second set meant there. For this last set of words, you can think of them as meaning over there. The masculine singular form will become aquel and the feminine singular form aquella. This final set of demonstrative adjectives indicates the greatest degree of physical distance or time gap. In terms of time, these words could be used to talk about something that happened quite a long time in the past, something you might not necessarily even mention a specific date for. For example, at a family gathering, you might overhear a relative explaining, "Aquellos muchachos son los primos de Fernando." Those boys are Fernando's cousins. When it comes to the plural forms of this set of demonstrative adjectives, they are pretty intuitive. The masculine plural form is simply aquellos and the feminine is aquellas. Just like their singular forms translates to that in English, these plural forms mean roughly the same thing as the word those. Once again, to see several examples of how these words are used in daily conversation, be sure to read the full article on demonstrative adjectives in Spanish, which we have linked in the description below. Now that you've learned the demonstrative adjectives of the Spanish language, take a second to remember these quick tips about using them. First, remember that demonstratives generally come before a noun because they are adjectives. And you know how, with normal Spanish adjectives, you have to make their form agree with the noun's gender and number. For instance, if you wanted to say that multiple dogs are big, you would need to know that the word for more than one dog, perros, is masculine and plural. Therefore, you would take the masculine plural form of the adjective grande or big and use it in conjunction with the noun. This would sound like los perros grandes. Once you understand that concept, you'll find it easier to remember that your demonstrative adjectives also need to agree with the noun they are describing in both gender and number. One last quick tip with these demonstrative adjectives: they have no written accent. Good news for you, one less thing to remember. This, that, these, and those. If you've been paying attention, you know how to say all of these words in Español. It might not seem like a lot, but these 4 simple words can completely change the depth of your Spanish communication, so keep practicing them as much as you can. Ahora, ¿estás listo para usar estos adjetivos demostrativos en español? Now, are you ready to use these demonstrative adjectives in Spanish? Try out the practice exercises in our guide that is in the description of this video. Practice makes perfect, and putting your knowledge to the test with these exercises is the best way to assess your understanding. And if you want to practice this lesson with an experienced Spanish teacher, why not schedule your first BaseLang class today? At BaseLang.com, you get access to unlimited one-on-one Spanish classes with native-speaking teachers, all via Zoom. Try your first week for only $1. Hey! Thinking back to our scenario at the very beginning of the lesson, you're now much better equipped to tell the local Spanish speakers and your waiter exactly what you're asking for information about. To make your next trip even easier, check out our video on travel phrases you can use when visiting Spanish-speaking countries. They'll make your conversation a breeze and help you connect with the local culture. As always, thanks for joining us, and I'll see you in the next lesson.